Hi everybody, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about driving lessons starting again, which is great news obviously. So the other week it was announced that things can start to go back to normal, providing we follow the right steps, and driving lessons falls into the set of restrictions that are eased on the 12th of April. So at the time we're recording this, 4 weeks ish from now, driving lessons can resume. So we're going to talk about what's that going to look like, what's it going to look like for driving tests, how a driving lesson is going to look, and what we can do to make sure we're best prepared for when we do get our driving test. Driving lessons starting again, like I just said, 12th of April, so all gearing up for that. What does that mean for us as driving lessons? So you've been able to, through the lockdown, you've been able to go out with mum and dad or whoever your supervising driver might have been, as long as you're on an essential journey, so going to supermarket, going to doctor's appointments, whatever it might have been, and you could learn that way. Driving lessons and driving tests, so driving lessons with a driving instructor and driving tests have been suspended, so we've not been able to work. So for me, we were in tier 4 before Christmas in my area, so middle of December I haven't been able to do any lessons from, and then we also had the lockdown in November for a month, so we couldn't do any lessons then either. So since the end of October there's only been 2 weeks worth of driving lessons in the area that I'm in. Now it's going to be at least 3 months worth of backlog with most driving instructors. I think all the people that are new that wanted to start potentially, plus the existing students, plus all the existing tests. So if you haven't already, you need to find yourself a driving instructor. You're going to need to ask some questions now, because the wait times could be quite large. The people's waiting lists could be quite large. That's the only real effect it's going to have on driving lessons. We're going to go back to the same as it was before, so wearing masks, windows open, and cleaning and sanitizing down between each lesson, sanitizing hands right before you start your lesson, and like I said, wearing a face covering of some sort. Now that's probably the way life's going to be for a little while, but hopefully once the vaccine is rolled out fully and everybody's had it, we should be absolutely fine. A lot of you, if you're at college, are going to be being tested anyway, so you should know whether you've got the virus or not. As for driving tests, this is where like the biggest sticking point's probably going to come. So driving tests, if we start with a theory test first, the DVSA have released some information where they think that it's going to take until, I believe, September to get back to a normal level of testing from when they start retesting, from when they start reopening the tests in April. So that's a fair wait. That's a fair few weeks of wait to get things back to normal, but normal fairly quickly. It might mean that initially you've got a bit of a wait to get a test booked. So with that said, if you haven't started learning yet and you're going to, get yourself a highway code, get yourself a book, like it's called Learning to Drive: The Essential Skills. That's everything that we teach, everything that would be theory based is in those 2 books really. And then get yourself some revision software. So the 4-in-1 app is a great app. It's going to be even more important to be well prepared for these tests now as well, because you're going to need to only do these tests once really, otherwise you could wait a long time to get another test. So be prepared and don't underestimate it. Speak to your driving instructor as well if you have one. They may well have some theory sites that they could suggest you use. So the one that I use with my students is Theory Test Pro. They get free access to it, and I can see where they're struggling and I can help out. There are plenty of other options out there, so don't underestimate it, and get yourself some good revision software and some good books as well. The highway code is really boring to read, but really important, and it's got all the information you're going to need in it. So the reason why it's going to take that long to clear the backlog of tests is because there's currently 380,000 outstanding theory tests that have been booked, so they are going to need to be cleared first before, well, there'll be all the first 380,000 tests that are done, and then from within that Obviously people are not going to be able to do their tests. They may have changed their mind about learning to drive, blah 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 blah. So you might find some pop up every now and then at short notice. If that's the case, jump on it and book it, but you're going to have to check really quickly. So that's quite a lot, and that's the reason why it's going to take that amount of time to clear back to a normal standard. Onto the driving test itself, so the practical test. This is where the biggest backlog is going to fall. So I would suggest that you're going to want to pass your theory test before you even look, or be very close to passing your theory test before you start driving too much, learning to drive too much, purely for this next set of reasons. This is the worst case that the DVSA have put out. So there's currently a backlog of 420,000 driving tests. That's a huge number. So those driving tests will need to be cleared first, or will be assigned a test first because they were already booked. So that 420,000, they reckon, to get back to a normal standard of booking and a normal sort of lead time is going to take a year once they are back to 7 tests a day for the examiners. Now, when I went into tier 4, our examiners were doing 6 tests a day when we were in tier 2. So that still wasn't back to normal. So we've got to wait to get back to normal, and then it's going to be 12 months from there, is how I've read that information. So again, don't be taking a test and thinking, well, I'll just have a go at it, because if you're just going to have a go at it, you are going to have what they are saying is up to a 20-week, potentially more than that, wait for a test. So 20 weeks is basically 5 months. It's a long time. Most people can go from start to finish of learning to drive within that time easily. So you need to be ready. Otherwise, you're just going to waste a lot of time and money. So listen to your instructor. You need to know that you can drive fully independently without any additional input from your driving instructor to say, yeah, I'm good, I can take my test. All you should be being told is turn left here, turn right here, this at the roundabout, that at the roundabout, and oh, I'd like you to do a parallel park, or I'd like you to do this manoeuvre. You should need no input. You should need no, oh, slow down, there's a car coming, oh, you're not going to fit there, you need to wait. Certainly shouldn't be using the pedals for you, certainly shouldn't be grabbing the steering wheel. All your decision making needs to be independent, and you need to be able to do all of that to pass your test. So what can we do to kind of be best prepared for the driving test restarting? So for me, you need to know your subject. So that goes for anything. Whenever you're going to take a test on it, you need to know your subject. So know the most common faults that people make, and then make sure that you don't make them. So the list's available of the top 10 reasons why people fail a driving test, and I'll cover them quickly here. And I've also got a link to a video that I did about a year ago on the top 10 reasons why people fail the driving test. This list very rarely changes very much, and the top reason has never been any different. I'll quickly run through what they are now. So number 10 is reverse park control, and that is the only one that relates to a maneuver of any sort. Number 10. So of the most common reasons to failing, it's the least frequent thing. So number 9 is response to road signs, road markings. 8, position, normal driving. So are you? Number 7, move off control. Number 6 is response to signs, traffic lights. 5 is move off safely. And number 4 is junctions, turn right. Number 3 is control steering. And then finally, number 1, and this always will be number 1, is observations at a junction. So junctions, observations. You need to know that. So for me, those top 10 reasons, do you struggle in any of those areas? They're the most likely things for people to fail on. So know your subject, understand how well do I do on that. You can find the marking sheet online for your driving test, and that has explanations of every single area where you could fail. So might be worth looking at that and seeing, right, am I strong at this, am I weak at it? Know your own weaknesses, be honest with yourself. Do you struggle to, at a junction, is everyone always telling you when you're in there in the car, slow down, slow down, slow down, or oh, you've not checked both ways, or you can't go yet? If people are telling you that, then your judgment's off, and you need to reassess and be honest with yourself about, I need practice on that. That's what I wanted to just talk about briefly. So I think it's really important. It's great that driving lessons are back, and all of us driving instructors all of us want to be back to work. We all want to carry on going. and get back to work and get you guys through and past. It's just important that you are as prepared as you can be, and don't rush it. Really, really don't rush it. If you've got the opportunity to push your test back by a couple of weeks, if that opportunity was to arise, which is going to be unlikely, take it if your instructor is telling you that that's what you need. Hopefully you found this informative, interesting, giving you some kind of pointers on where to go. If you've got any questions, obviously feel free to ask them. And yeah, I'll do my best to get back to you on them. If you like the video, please do give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Do give us a subscribe and hit the bell button so you get the notifications of when I do upload. It's not been as frequent as I'd have liked it to have been of recent, but I've been homeschooling, which is something I never really want to have to do again. It was much harder than teaching people how to drive. Trying to teach my 6-year-old, it's much harder. I don't know how teachers do it. Hats off. But going to try and do some more, try and get a couple out a week. So stay tuned, and like I say, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.